spent 2 years in the White House office that approved judicial nominees. You turn to the FBI over and over and over again for their work. Let's bring them in here and now. Turn to Don McGahn and tell him it's time to get this done. An FBI investigation is the only way to answer some of these questions.
So stop the clock. This committee is running this hearing, not the White House, not Don McGahn, not even you as a nominee. We are here today because Dr. Ford asked for an opportunity here. I know you did too as well. In fact, maybe even before she did. We're here because people wanted to be heard from charges that they all thought were unfair, or activities like sexual assault was unfair. So I want to assure Senator Durbin, regardless of what you say to Senator Don McGahn, we're not suspending this hearing.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think Durbin kind of brings up a little bit of a good point there. It's like, why not, if you are so sure you're innocent, why not, like, bring an FBI investigation? But, like, he should have been just like, FBI investigation, you won't. Like, that's pretty much what it was, pretty much what it seemed like. After an interjection there, again, obviously from Grassley, Durbin then reiterated that he's insisting that Kavanaugh should ask the White House for an FBI investigation, and only President Trump, again, can order that. So, yeah. And that was probably, here's another one of the big, yeah, so that's pretty much the clip we just played there. And yeah, so anyway, he said, I welcome whatever the committee wants to do because I'm telling the truth. I know what you want to do, Judge. Durbin shot back. I'm innocent of this charge, Kavanaugh said, saying that the FBI isn't one that draws conclusions. Let's see.
If you, Judge Kavanaugh, turn to Don McGahn and to this committee,
this is
and
after
say, for
the
the
interruption.
sake of my reputation, my family name, and to get to the bottom of the truth of this, I am not going to be an obstacle to an FBI investigation. I would hope that all the members of the committee would join me in saying we're going to abide by your wishes and we will have that investigation.
I welcome whatever the committee wants to do because I'm telling the truth.
I want to know what you want to do.
I'm telling the truth.
I want to know what you want to do, Judge.
I'm innocent. I'm innocent of this charge.
Then you're prepared for an FBI investigation?
They don't reach conclusions. You reach the conclusion.
No,
Senator.
but they do investigate questions.
I'm innocent.
And you can't have it both ways, Judge. You can't say here at the beginning,
I wanted a hearing.
Moment,
Look,
I welcome any kind of investigation.
This thing was sprung on me. This thing was sprung at the last minute after being held by staff. You know,
Judge,
and I called for a hearing immediately.
If there is no truth to her charges, the FBI investigation will show that. Or are you afraid that they might not?
Oh, come on, Jay Whip.
The FBI does not reach. That's a phony question because the FBI doesn't reach conclusions.
Yeah, so that is kind of the back and forth. It's like, I want to know what you want to do. You want to get an FBI investigation? Well, let's hear it. Yeah, that's pretty much what it was the entire time there. All right, we're going to move on to Senate Judiciary Committee. They're holding a vote at 9:30 in just literally 3 hours from right now. After several sexual assault allegations against Brett Kavanaugh and Dr. Christine Blasey Ford's powerful and brutal testimony on Thursday, the Senate Judiciary Committee is showing how seriously it's taking the allegations against Ford by moving forward with a scheduled Friday morning vote on Kavanaugh's nomination to the Supreme Court. So the vote, which is the first item on the committee's executive business meeting agenda, has been scheduled on the schedule since Tuesday, as the committee rules require all votes to be announced at least 3 days ahead of time. That day, committee chairman Chuck Grassley insisted the scheduled vote was just a hypothetical, and the committee could absolutely postpone the hearing events if they were compelled to do so. Yeah, so that's pretty much the big deal there. Yeah, but still, after the hearing, it appears the vote is on for 9:30. So yeah, they're just going to move on with that. They're no surprising. Now we get to one of the more compelling stories of the day. After the testimony of Christine Blasey Ford, who's been accused of Supreme Court nominee, Brett Kavanaugh, of sexual assault. It's been riveting. It's been emotionally wrenching, and above all, eminently believable. The tactic chosen by Senate Republicans to cede the questioning of Ford to sex toy imposter Rachel Mitchell has been pretty much a disaster. Asking about airplanes. Republicans have reason to panic here. And no one's panicking more than South Carolina's Lindsey Graham. Let's see if we get any issues with that. So he says, hiring a lawyer and taking a polygraph makes me more suspicious. She can't say how she got to the party and how she left. That's a quote from Lindsey Graham. And you know what we're going to do is we're going to play. And this is, again, after Orrin Hatch asked about this testimony. It's too early to make it's too early to make these kind of determinations, but she's a good witness, articulate. This is kind of weird. She's an attractive person, but I think it's too early to make those determinations. He later called her not uncredible, so that's pretty much much as a ringing endorsement you can get from a Republican senator like Orrin Hatch. All right, but here is Lindsey Graham's literal meltdown in the halls of the Senate.
All I can deal with is what's in front of me. I've got a guy who adamantly denies this. Everybody who actually knows him in a real way say, this is not the guy I know. I got Dr. Ford, who can't tell me the time and the place, and we'll see what happens. Maybe something comes out.
Tomorrow? Are you going to vote tomorrow?
I intend to.
Will this be enough for some Republicans not to vote for her?
Well, let me put it this way to my Republican colleagues. If this becomes the new standard, where you have an accusation for weeks, you drop it right before the hearing, you withhold from the committee a chance to do this in a professional, timely fashion, when they publicly say that their goal is to delay the vote, get the Senate back in 2018 to make sure he can't fill the seat. They're publicly saying that. I don't want to reward that kind of behavior. I think we've been very fair. And to my Republican colleagues, if you can ignore everything in this record, look at an allegation that's 35 years old, that's uncertain in time, place, date, and no corroboration, if that's enough for you, God help us all as Republicans, because this happens to us. It never happens to them. But let me tell you, my Democratic friends, if this is the new norm, you better watch out for your nominees.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you,
Boom.
Senator.
Yeah, so that's Lindsey Graham right there. Talking all crazy like on the pretty much on the Republicans, threatening about the Democrats that maybe, just maybe, and I don't think that's true. I mean, imagine like this could maybe, just possibly, that the Republicans could do something to the Democrat Supreme Court nominees. Like, they just literally just did that. Have you heard of Merrick Garland? We know what you guys do, and we know you're capable of it. Threatening isn't going to work when you've already done it. Like, you can't say, punch someone in the eye and go, oh, that's a nice eye there. Shame if something were to happen to it. And like, oh, look all threatening. When you just punch the person's eye. I mean, geez. It's pretty crazy. Yeah. So Graham was not really finished melting down, though, after being approached by a protester outside the Ford hearing who told her experience of being raped. Graham just goes, yeah, I'm sorry. Tell the cops. Yeah. So this is another Graham eruption when Kavanaugh came back out. This was during the break in between Ford and Kavanaugh. So this is what he said afterwards, and this is even more crazy.
If you wanted an FBI investigation, you could have come to us. What you want to do is destroy this guy's life, hold this seat open, and hope you win in 2020. You've said that, not me. You've got nothing to apologize for. When you see Sotomayor and Kagan, tell them that Lindsey said hello, because I voted for them. I would never do to them what you've done to this guy. This is the most unethical sham since I've been in politics. And if you really wanted to know the truth, you sure as hell wouldn't have done what you've done to this guy. Are you a gang rapist?
No.
I cannot imagine what you and your family have gone through. Boy, y'all want power. God, I hope you never get it. I hope the American people can see through this sham, that you knew about it and you held it. You had no intention of protecting Dr. Ford. None. She's as much of a victim as you are. God, I hate to say it because these have been my friends. But let me tell you, when it comes to this, you're looking for a fair process, you came to the wrong town at the wrong time, my friend.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, it literally erupts there. I mean, a little interesting theory was he was trying to gun for the Attorney General job if Jeff Sessions ever gets it. And he's certainly playing up. And he's not going to be recusing himself from no Russian investigation. So, yeah, that's pretty much that's a very interesting situation there. Wow. So, yeah, jeez. Lindsey Graham going crazy there over this entire situation. And I think we can all figure out how many ways he's wrong there, just yelling at people in an extraordinary way and projecting pretty much all of his desires onto the Democrats. Like, there's no one who wants power more than Lindsey Graham, I'm sorry. Or just general GOP Republicans. Him, Ted Cruz, all those type of people. Like, they're some of those power-hungry people. Ugh. Yeah, so immediately after the end of Brett Kavanaugh's hearing today in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee, some of the Senate's 4 key swing votes have shuttered themselves inside an office in the Capitol building after English shooing reporters away. Republican Senators Chris Collins of Maine, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, and Senator Jeff Flake of Arizona, and the Democratic Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia were spotted going into an office on the Capitol. The 3 Republicans who together are largely considered declining votes. The deciding votes behind the Kavanaugh nomination are planning to attend the GOP conference meeting before Thursday evening, according to an aide. However, before the greater Republican meeting, they wanted to get some private whispering done with Manchin, a centrist Democrat, who voted to confirm Trump's last Supreme Court nominee, Neil Gorsuch. And at this point, there's really no political reason for a Democrat to there's really no political reason for anyone with a D next to their name really to vote to confirm Kavanaugh. But if anyone does, really, it's going to be Joe Manchin. Yeah, he's probably one of the most centrist and most slimy Democrats. And if I swear to God, if a Democrat ends up pushing this over the edge, I mean, that's bad. That is embarrassing. And that's only going to make Democrats madder, if they can even already be madder as well. So, yeah, Collins, Murkowski, and Flake, on the other hand, are sort of the Republicans who always make a big show of standing up to Trump on some stuff, but almost never actually do. So Democrats are looking at them to potentially neutralize the GOP's 51-49 majority on the Senate if it does come to a vote next week. Flake also sits in the Senate Judiciary Committee, meaning he has a whole inside view of what might happen tomorrow morning as the committee has as a whole votes on Kavanaugh during its 9:30 a.m. executive business meeting. Yeah, so Murkowski also had previously noted some form of support for a full FBI investigation, which could be pretty big. And CNN caught Manchin as he was coming out of the meeting. Manchin said, "There have been no decisions. We meet all the time. I think you all know we trust each other. We are still talking. There are no decisions on anything." He said both of the nominees were of the speakers today were credible, which could be a pretty big deal. So, yeah, Kavanaugh allegations are credible, and so is Kavanaugh. So, like, it sounds like there's still some mind making up to do just based on that quote, and we're gonna look at that. So it's gonna be very interesting. All right, but finally, we're gonna end today on this piece of audio.
Quite a start to this hearing. Dr. Christine Blasey Ford telling her story. And you just heard Senator Durbin ask her to what percentage would she say that Brett Kavanaugh was the person who attacked her? And she said 100% certainty. Compelling testimony, obviously emotional. You could hear a pin drop in that committee room as senators listened on. And Martha, the questioning from Ms. Mitchell, the prosecutor, a little jilted because it's 5 minutes and it's separated by each senator. So it's not stringing together as far as where she's trying to go in that questioning.
You have to believe that the Republican senators right now are asking themselves whether or not this was a good idea. Whether or not they have robbed themselves of their opportunity to ask pointed questions in a way that perhaps might be more compelling. Ms. Mitchell is doing what she probably has always done, which is to methodically go through the questioning almost as if she's taking a deposition. At the rate that she's going through these questions could take, 7 hours if she didn't have to do it in these chopped up little bits of 5 minutes, during which she then has to pass it over to a Democratic